morning. Let's start the daily discussion. The first topic is regarding space economy in India. Space economy, very interesting topic. So, according to a recent report from the World Economic Forum, the global space economy will reach a value of 1.8 trillion by 2035, nearly identical to the sale of world's semiconductor industry. Because this is the most emerging domain in the global economy right now. The report titled Space, the $1.8 trillion opportunity for global economic growth, is authored by the World Economic Forum and the consulting firm McKinsey and Co. What is the space economy? Space economy defined by the OECD, Organization for Economic and Cooperation Development, as a full range of activity and the use of resources that create value and benefits for human beings in the course of exploring, researching, understanding, managing and utilizing space. Okay, so earning money while exploring, researching, understanding, managing and utilizing space is known as space economy. Okay, the space economy defined by OECD are the full range of activity and the use of resources that create value and benefit for human being in the course of exploring, researching, understanding, managing and utilizing space. The term space economy covers the goods and services produced in the space for use in space. Produced in space for use in space. Economic growth in the space sector. The Space Report 2022 estimate that the space economy was worth 469 billion in 2021, a 9% increase from the previous year. Global space market is projected to reach 1 trillion by 2030. Rise in state-backed investment. According to the Space Foundation report, there has been an increase in state-backed investment in space projects around the world because space was a exclusive monopoly of the state till few years back. Okay, all the countries who have done space research, they kept it completely government domain, like NASA in USA, ISRO in India, Roscosmos in Russia. Okay, that Japanese Space Agency, JAXA in Japan. Okay, so all are totally government controlled and government dominated space agency. But since last few years, since the launching of the SpaceX in USA, so other countries have started giving the private players a role to play in the space domain, which was not earlier given. Okay, so global space market will to 1 trillion by 2040, rising states backed. So according to the Space Foundation report, there has been an increase in the state-backed investment in the space project around the world. There was a 19% jump in overall government spending on military and civil space program in 2021. Drivers of space economy, decrease in launch cost, rapid and large drop in the launch cost of satellites and rocket, which was fallen by tenfold over the last 20 years. So earlier, there few launch were there. Right now, reusable rockets are being used, and the major reason for drastic cut in the launch cost. Price of data and connectivity is also expected to drop by at least 10%, demand increased by 60% by 2035. A commercial innovation example, improvement in resolution of Earth observation technology, which in turn drives down the price to access the said technology. Diversification of technology, there is a rapid diversification of space-based technology and activities such as space tourism. So right now this is being promoted. Space tourism is a new domain which is emerging right now. Okay. So then cultural awareness and general enthusiasm for space in recent days is also a major driver of interest in space for future generation. Catalyst of expansion, various industries are both drivers and beneficiary of growth and diversification by improving three key aspects of space technology. Urbanization, increasing ease of using the accessibility and education and awareness of growing technology. New space entrepreneurship has emerged in India with many startups which seek value in exploring end-to-end services in the business to business and business to consumer segment using new space. Space economy in India, share in global space economy. At current, the space sector in India accounts for around 2% of the global space economy. India's space economy has the potential to reach 44 billion by 2033 with about 8% of the global share. Size of the Indian space economy, it is estimated around 8.4 billion USD. Of this, the downstream services market, primarily of communication and data application, accounts to close 80% of the total space economy, wherein the private sector is a major contributor. The upstream market like satellite and launch operation is primarily controlled by the government, with the private sector in a vendor-oriented role towards manufacturing and delivering subsystems and components to the government agency. Although we say that private space company have emerged in India, okay, Skyroot is the first space company in India which has launched has developed a rocket, the Vikrama rocket. Although the Vikrama rocket developed the Skyroot was launched from Sriharikota using that government ISRO's launch pad, but they have been able to develop a rocket. Although they have not been able to have their own launch pad, but they are able to develop a rocket and test it successfully. Similarly, SpaceX is right now supplementing the NASA's program for commercial space launching. The compound annual growth rate, as per the various market survey, the space company has grown with an average compound annual growth of 8%, rise in number. Okay, so investment in India space startup has increased to 124.7 million in 2023, increasing role of private sector. Private company are exploring satellite-based communication solution, satellite integration and testing facilities. The local manufacturing of the satellite subsystem and ground system are being taken up by the private sector like the SpaceX, and in India more than 50 startups have been launched in the space sector. Example: SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and Arianespace offer launch services and space tourism in USA. Rise in satellite. So in India also you can say Skyroot. Okay, Garuda Aerospace, they have been launched. Rise of the satellite launch. There is an increase in the number of launch completed by the ISRO. Out of 424 foreign satellite launched by ISRO since 1990, 389, more than 90% were launched in the last 9 years, and many of them are in the private sector satellites which have been launched by ISRO. ISRO have started launching satellites of the private companies. Okay, so from foreign countries. Okay, so Indian Space Policy 2023 enables end-to-end participation of non-governmental entities in all domains of space activity. FDI norm under automatic route, the policy allow up to 100% investment under the automatic route for the manufacturing of component system and subsystem for satellite, ground segment and user segment. Okay, so right now private sector have been allowed. Okay, then for manufacturing and operating an entire satellite up to 47% investment will be allowed under the automatic route. Okay, FDI norm under government approval route, and anything beyond the limit will have to go through a government approval process. Under the current policy, any foreign investment in manufacturing and operating satellite is allowed only with government approval. ASAT capability. On 27 March 2019, India tested anti-satellite weapon during the operation code in the mission Shakti. Okay, that was the test put India on an equal footing to USA, Russia, China, and the country which has capability in the world till date. Indian IND-SpaceX first tabletop space warfare exercise. IND-SpaceX demonstrated integrated satellite communication and reconnaissance for enhanced intelligence and firepower. Defense Space Agency. In 2019, India established the DSA, the Defense Space Research Organization, DSRO. The DSRO, resembling a US fighter command, coordinates space asset across military branches. Okay, because right now space is being widely used in the defense domain. The Defense Space Agency Research Organization integrates civilian space technology for military application. Chandrayaan-3 launched the Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft to achieve a soft landing of the robotic lander on the moon's south pole, which India became the first country to put or land a satellite in the south pole of moon, which no country has achieved till. Okay, so Bharatiya Antarik Station. India plans to set up Bharatiya Antarik Station by 2035 and take the first Indian to moon by 2040 under the Gaganayan mission. Opportunity offered by the space economy advancing okay. A space station also facilitates development and testing of new technology and application for space exploration and utilization, enhancing the nation's pledge prestige. It will showcase India's achievement and capability in space and demonstrate its commitment and leadership in advancing humanity's frontier. It will inspire and motivate the next generation of scientists, engineers and explorers. A space station will also foster a sense of national identity and pride among Indians. Promoting global cooperation and peace. It will offer opportunity for collaboration and exchange with other countries and organizations in space. This will thereby foster a spirit of cooperation and mutual understanding among the participants and contribute to the peaceful use of outer space. This will also support the global goal of sustainable development and social welfare. Space mining, asteroids are rich in precious resources crucial for industry. They offer an alternative with abundant reserve, avoiding environmental concern tied to wildlife harm during extraction. Space mining is driven by demand for critical metals, essential electronics, solar panels, wind power, and electric car components. Challenges in the development of space economy. Okay, so challenges space debris. According to NASA, there are more than 100 million pieces of space debris at the size of 1 millimeter too large orbiting the Earth. These debris can include non-functional spacecraft, abandoned equipment, and mission-related debris traveling at a speed of up to 7,500 miles per hour, 28,160 kilometer per hour. Okay. Okay, so even a teeny piece of debris can damage a satellite or spacecraft. A teeny piece can move revolving in the space. The debris it, can also damage a new that spacecraft or satellite. Lack of regulatory ecosystem for startups. The startup in the India are yet to take off in the absence of regulatory clarity. Hence, they need an enabling ecosystem, a culture of accelerators, incubators, venture capitalists, and mentor that exist in cities like Bengaluru, which is where most new space startups are flourished. Okay, India has to transform this startup into full-fledged industry to accelerate India's dominance in space. Cyber attack, the draft national cybersecurity strategy lacked focus on space security despite concern raised by the Data Security Council of India about potential attack on critical infrastructure including space agencies. Minimal share in global economy, India's share in estimated at just 2% of the global market. Over a third of transponders used for Indian service are leased from foreign satellite, and this proportion will rise as the demand grow in the country. Okay, so then thus India needs to collaborate with partner to increase its share in the global space market. So unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Okay, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police have consistently reported UAP sightings. India is lagging significantly behind other nations in addressing the UAP issue, which is known as the uh, okay. So UAP denotes flying objects linked to non-human alien intelligences. Human spaceflight expertise. India lack experience in human spaceflight, which is essential for building and operating a space stations. And India right now has launched its Gaganayan program and had declared the persons will go to space. So 4 persons have been selected, and Prime Minister declared their name. And India's plan is to first launch its space program very soon. Okay, so this will make India another dominating power in the space uh, domain. Okay, the greatest threat are lack of oxygen and pressure in the closed environment. Okay, so firstly the hazard to astronaut health. The space environment can be lethal without the correct protection equipment and precautions, which research are going on right now. Okay, then the greatest threat are a lack of oxygen and pressure in closed environment, expansion of the cerebral ventricles, altered gravity fields, radiation and psychological effect of isolation and confinement. So these are the challenges faced by the faced by any country in its space program. So, but Indian ISRO has emerged itself as a major player in the space domain and is developing its confidence level day by day. And the recent success of Chandrayaan 3, then the other missions, so has made ISRO the means more confident that it can launch its space program and will be able to establish Singapore as a major space power. Okay, very soon. Integrating space into national cyber security strategy. ISRO defends against more than 100 cyber attacks each day. India needs to emulate the US and prepare satellite hacking sandbox that can be experimented with to find system vulnerabilities. Increasing space budget. The space budget allocation must be increased from 0.04% to at least 0.5% of the GDP to boost research and center and space standards. Indian Space Resilience Agency. India must enhance space supply chain resilience and security with the Quad Space Cooperation. Establishing a central Indian Space Resilience Agency for joint monitoring and incident response exercise. Permanent body of the EPA. India must establish a permanent body for the EPA research. That UAP research, because these unmanned aerial vehicles are a big challenge under the defense ministry like the US and UK, or under ISRO on the French model. India must introduce protocols for military and civilian reports while synchronizing the land, sea, and space surveillance capability. Given India's ancient civilization and the long history of the UAP sighting, there is a possibility that UAP-related artifacts laying within its soil, air, and waters. Incentivizing startups. India must strategically incentivize startup for innovation space logistics solutions, aligning with the success of its satellite launch program. Okay. Like the US and Luxembourg, an easy regulatory and tax regime will greatly incentivize the growth of the space industry. Protection from space debris. Presently, India relies on data compiled by the NASA to ascertain threats to its orbital asset. Thus, protection from space debris need to track potentially threatening debris and change the course of the functional hardware. Future solutions can include more accurate tracking of debris and measures to lower their orbit for eventual burnt out in the atmosphere. Closer association with the Interagency Space Debris Coordination Committee and developing satellite bodies such as which can withstand minor impact are some of the other steps which can be taken by India to establish its domination or its presence felt in the space domain. Advancing space capability. This can be done by developing sophisticated space-based weaponry, including hard kill guided missiles. Okay, so both soft and hard kill systems such as jammers and directed every weapon are crucial component for outer space warfare. Creation of space force. India may create a space force mirroring the US to strengthen satellite network defense and take assertive action against adversary network in the evolving space security landscape. Training astronauts for space flight program. India will have to train a team of astronauts and ensure their safety and well-being in space, and the first batch have been declared and they are undergoing training. India will also have to develop reliable launch vehicles and spacecraft that can transport crew and cargo to and from the space station. Import restrictions on solar PV cells. Recently, so the next topic is that recently the government has imposed import restrictions to increase local sourcing of the solar module to support India's renewable manufacturing ecosystem. The Minister of New and Renewable Energy re-implemented the ALMM. Okay, a list to promote domestic manufacturing capability and support India's renewable ecosystem. What is ALMM? The ALMM stand for Approved List of Models and Manufacturers of Solar Photovoltaic Modules. The ALMM is a list of solar PV module manufacturers eligible for use in government projects, including those set up for electricity sale to central and state government. It was initially introduced in 2021 but was kept in abeyance for the last financial year. A reason for re-implementation of the ALMM list: support domestic manufacturing. The ALMM list prioritize domestically manufactured solar equipment for government projects because government project will only procure the solar equipment produced by the local manufacturers and will not depend upon the outsourced one or the imported one. So this aims to boost India's renewable energy sector and reduce reliance on import. Import production capacity. The government believes domestic manufacturers have increased production capacity and can now compete with cheaper imports. This is also a major reason for justifying the re-implementation of the LMM list. Import substitution. The focus is on import substitution for encouraging domestic manufacturers to meet local demands for solar equipment. However, import have not been restricted entirely by the government as per the WTO guidelines. Okay, then statistics of India solar cell import. India heavily relies on import to meet its demand for solar cells and modules. China and Vietnam are the primary supply of these products. Import statistics over the last 5 years, India imported around 11.17 billion worth of these products. This amount to around 0.44% India's total export during the same period. Dominance of China. China supplies 53% of Indian solar cell import and 63% of the solar PV module import. Mm, mm. Go, go, go. Online class phone. Huh? Yes, I got it. So China supplies 53% of India's solar cell import and 63% of the solar PV module import. So China is a major supplier. Reason for India to rely on solar cell import: dominant manufacturing capacity of China. China possesses overall 80% of the manufacturing capacity across all stages of solar production. So polysilicon, wafer, cell and modules. In addition to the above, China has a well-established solar cell supply chain which ready availability raw materials, skilled labor and efficient manufacturing processes. This allows them to produce and deliver solar cells quickly and reliably within a very limited time span. Okay. So, lower manufacturing capacity in India, Indian domestic manufacturing capacity is significantly lower compared to China, and its primary focus on the final stage module rather than the entire production process, means assembling the module. Cost competitiveness: China's large scale production, 80% manufacturing capacity, lower cost, and the supportive government role in prioritizing solar PV as a strategic sector, make it able to provide solar cell at competitive price. In China, electricity accounts for more than 40% of the production cost of the polysilicon and almost 20% for ingots and the wafers. Limited domestic alternative. Until recently, India lacked strong domestic alternatives to Chinese import. The production link incentive scheme aims to change this, but it will take time for domestic manufacturers to ramp up production and compete effectively. India's policy to reduce reliance on China for solar cell import. India has taken three significant steps to address its over-dependence on the solar import over the last 5 years. The ALMM order. The process began with the introduction of the ALMM order in January 2019. The issue gained prominence during the COVID-19 pandemic due to severe global supply chain disruption. So we started focusing on our domestic manufacturing capability enhancement. PIL scheme production incentive. In response, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman proposed a 19,500 crore PLI scheme in the Union Budget 2022-23. Its objective is to enhance domestic manufacturing across the entire solar supply chain, from polysilicon to solar modules. Implementation of high import duty. Government imposed duty on to encourage domestic production. 40% custom duty on solar PV modules, 25% custom duty on solar PV cell were imposed. These duty are later reduced to solar capacity additions slow down. As per Reuters, it occurred because some developers charged low tariff to secure power purchase contract, which increased cost pressure on projects with a capacity of about 30 gigawatt. Okay. Then objective of India's policy to reduce the solar cell import, promote domestic manufacturing solar equipment in India, reduce dependence on import, particularly from China, make solar power generation more cost competitive in the long run. Recently, the IPEF organized a Clean Economy Investor Forum in Singapore. The IPEF Clean Economy Investors Forum is one of the initiatives under the IPEF. The forum aims to mobilize investment into sustainable infrastructure, climate technology and renewable energy projects. It brings together the region's top investors, philanthropies, financial institutions, innovative companies, startup and entrepreneurs. Managed by Invest India, Indian National Investment Promotion Agency. Okay, is managing this. Opportunity for Indian industry. The forum will have opportunity for the Indian industry in the two following track. Climate track, tech track. This track is open for top climate tech company and startup from member countries, including India, to present their innovations to global investors. It focuses on recognizing leading enterprises in climate technology. Infrastructure track. This track highlights ready to invest sustainable projects in the energy, solar, wind, hydrogen, transport, EV charging stations and waste management, to be showcased at the 2024 forum in India. Then the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. The Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity is an economic initiative launched by the USA President Joe Biden in 2022. Its objective, it provides a platform for countries in the region to collaborate on advancing resilient, sustainable and inclusive economic growth, and aims to contribute to cooperation, stability and prosperity in the region. Members, it has 14 partners: Australia, Brunei, Darussalam, Fiji, India, Indonesia, Japan, Republic of Korea, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand. Agency Department of Commerce for the IPEF engagement. The IPEF comprises four pillars of cooperation, namely trade, supply chain, clean economy, and fair economy. Okay, this will be the focus of the India Economic Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity (IPEF). Credit deposit rate. Bank in India are facing challenges in attracting deposit during the financial 23-24. They are facing challenges for that. So, according to data from the RBI, the credit deposit ratio, indicating the proportion of a bank's deposit base used for loan, has reached its highest level in the last 20 years due to increased loan uptake, particularly in categories like home loans and other consumption loans. Current standing of at 80%, the credit deposit ratio is at its highest since 2015. Customers are opting for high return equity linked products, reducing the fund available for domestic deposits in the bank. In financial 24, while deposit grew by 13.5% to 204.8 trillion, non-food credit grew by 20% to 164.1 trillion, outpacing the deposit growth. In contrast to the financial 23, where deposit grew by 9.6% and credit by 14.4%. That means deposits rates have started falling in India because people are investing in other options like the stock market. About credit deposit ratio, the credit deposit ratio is a financial metric used to assess the relationship between the bank's lending activity and its deposit base. It is calculated by dividing the total loan extended by the bank by its total deposits. The ratio indicates how much of the bank's deposit are being used to provide loans. A higher credit deposit ratio suggests that a larger portion of the deposit is being lent out as credit, while a lower ratio indicates that more deposits are being held in reserve or invested in other assets. It is an important measure of a bank's liquidity and lending capability. Next is a topic, the air breathing magnesium copper, the cupric oxide fuel cell. Researchers at the University of Kerala have developed an eco-friendly fuel cell that primarily utilizes air and seawater to generate power. The air breathing magnesium copper that the cupric oxide fuel cell is highlighted in the Journal of Engineering and Applied Science. The technology is anticipated to outperform lithium-ion battery in power supply. Okay, so the air breathing magnesium copper cuprate oxide fuel cell is highlighted in the Journal of Engineering and Applied Science. Technology is anticipated to outperform lithium-ion battery in power output. Unlike traditional fuel cell that use hydrogen, this cell relies on magnesium and sodium chloride for seawater. By employing cupric oxide over copper substance, the cell becomes cost-effective compared to platinum-based alternatives. The magnesium copper that cupric oxide fuel cell is an eco-friendly technology developed to generate power primarily using air and seawater. This innovative fuel cell product electricity and heat during operation while emitting water, making it environmentally clean. It employs cupric oxide grown over a copper substance in a magnesium sodium chloride based system. Compared to traditional fuel cell, it offers cost effectiveness by utilizing semiconductor material instead of platinum for air cathode system. Okay, the Sea Dome defense system. Next topic. The Sea Dome is a naval version of the Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. It was developed for the first time as a response to the hostile aircraft entering Israel's airspace near the Elilat. Similar to the Iron Dome, which intercept rocket fired from Gaza, the Sea Dome uses radar to detect incoming threat and destroy them with its own missiles. Unlike the Iron Dome, the Sea Dome is mounted on ship and integrated into ship's radar. It provides full circular protection against maritime and coastal threats. The system was tested on SAS-6 class Covertish, German-made warship used by the Israeli Navy and declared operational in November 2022. The Sea Dome employed the Tamir interceptors, a modular vertical launch unit, and a command and control component to detect and track threat at sea. place the peace clause of at WTO. So India has invoked the peace clause at the World Trade Organization for the fifth consecutive time. This time because India has breached the prescribed subsidy limit for rice offered to its farmers. Okay, peace clause is a clause on the agreement on agriculture. Introduction. At the Bali Minister Conference December 2013, WTO member agreed to temporarily implement a mechanism known as the peace clause. They also pledged to work on a permanent solution through negotiations. So according to global trade rules, WTO member countries' food subsidy bill should not exceed 10% of their value of the production based on the reference price of 1986 to 88. Subsidy over and above the prescribed ceiling are seen as trading distortion because as per WTO AOA or Agreement on Agriculture, no country should purchase the food grain beyond more than 10% at the government determined rate. Rest will be fixed by the market. Okay. Concern India has been complaining that 10% subsidy ceiling is calculated on the basis of the reference price of 1986. Okay, so the reference price has become outdated long ago. Note the minimal. This is the minimal amount of domestic support that is allowed over, even though it may okay. মানে দুটো বাকি এ ডাবল ই ও পি এস এ ডাবল ই তো কেবে টু আলাদা India has been complaining that 10% subsidy ceiling is calculated on the basis of the reference price of 1986-88, which is old and outdated. The note D minimis, this is minimal amount of domestic support that is allowed even though okay. So in case of developed country, the de minimis limit or ceiling is up to 5% of the value of production and 10% in case of developing nations. Okay, then coming to the question answer, explicate the limitations of government intervention in controlling food inflation in India. How to best manage food inflation without adverse effect. Recent time, consumer food price in August 2023 was 9.9% higher in comparison to same month the previous year because of the food inflation. Okay, so limitation of the government intervention, the PDS leakages. Despite improvement, the PDS is still hampered by diversion of and pilferage of grains. Report from the C and AG. Okay, the have repeatedly highlighted these insufficiencies with large amount of variance, 40 to 50% being pilfered and diverted to the open market from the PDS network, which is a big setback. Okay, so hoarding and black marketing. Okay, as seen in 2019, onion when it prices multiplied due to hoarding, despite warning, delayed government action allowed traders to manipulate the market, showing how policy lag can exacerbate price swelling. Okay. Okay. Then supply chain insufficiency as observed during the COVID-19 lockdown, which highlighted the vulnerability of India's food logistics disruption. Okay. Then climate vulnerability. Agriculture in India is heavily dependent on the monsoon season. Deviations such as unseasonal rains in 2019 can decimate crops as seen with onion and tomato in major producing states like Maharashtra and Karnataka, leading to supply shortage and price inflation. Import-export policy delay, for example, 2016 delay in reduction import duty on pulses despite rising prices resulted in prolonged inflation. Okay. Despite rising prices, per need more agile policy response to global and domestic market condition. Strategy to beat manage food inflation without adverse effect. Robust market intelligence, enhance market intelligence through the establishment of an integrated system like the AgriMarkNet, which can be further advanced to predict pricing trends using AI and the big data analysis. Growth of food processing, sell of food processing industry using models like the Mega Food Park initiative, which can add value to agricultural products and stabilize price through the reduced wastage. Direct farm consumer model, encourage direct farm to market channels, exemplified by startups like the Cat, which directly connect farmers to retailers and consumers, minimizing intermediaries. Future trading and price hedging, develop future markets as done with the NCDX, National Commodity and Derivative Exchange, to allow farmers and buyers to hedge prices, offering stability in the income and expenses. Efficient stock management, enhance buffer stock management through digitization and real-time monitoring, draw lessons. Okay, efficient stock management, enhance buffer stock management through digitization and real-time monitoring. Okay, real-time monitoring, drawing lessons from the success of online platform like the e-NAM, National Agriculture Market, which has improved market efficiency. Adoption of agri-tech, invest in agricultural technology, drawing inspiration from the project like the Digital Green, which helps farmer improve yield with modern farming techniques and better productivity of outputs. Promoting diversification, encourage farmers to diversify into less water intensive are correct, 3 is incorrect. Which does the credit deposit ratio measure in banking sector? So it measure the ratio of loan disbursed by the bank to its total deposit. So C. Consider the following assertion pertain to magnesium copper, that Puri oxide fuel cell, it utilizes hydrogen gas as a fuel source. Incorrect. It operates at a low temperature, making it suitable for portable application. No. It releases carbon dioxide as a byproduct for the reaction. All the 3 are incorrect. So non-correct means none are correct. Consider the following statement: Sea-Dome is an advanced missile system developed by China. No, Israel. It is wrong. So Iron Dome is a maritime variant of Sea-Dome designed specially in our defense system. It is a maritime Sea-Dome. No, it is wrong. Reverse. Iron Dome is for the defense operations, Sea-Dome for the maritime one. Sea-Dome and Iron Dome are both air defense system, with Sea-Dome being developed by Israel and Iron Dome by China. Both are by China. Both are by Israel, not by China. So all the 3 are incorrect. None is correct here. Right answer is D. So thank you for watching. Keep watching regular to update yourself.